This is a plant that I'd just like to point out because it's a dangerous plant. It's poisonous, in fact, very poisonous. This is called tree tobacco. It's Nicotiana glauca. It's got a tubular flower. This is typical of the nightshade family. It's in the nightshade family, the same as Jimson weed and potatoes, tomatoes, and petunias are all in this family. But some are edible and some are extremely dangerous. And this is one of the dangerous ones. You can die from nicotine poisoning from this. Sometimes kids, they find out it's street tobacco, and so they'll smoke the leaves and stuff, and they can end up dying from it. It's not a native plant. It grows almost anywhere. These typical yellow flowers, long tubular yellow flowers, are very typical of it. You see it on roadsides, almost any place where you don't want it to grow. And it can get fairly tall. You can see this one is probably 8 feet or so, but they can get even taller than that. So tree tobacco, stay away from it. This we'll probably see it growing right next to another plant that looks very similar, but I'll show you the differences here. This is poison oak. This is diversilobum, Toxicodendron diversilobum. And I've never gotten poison oak. I don't know if I really would react to it as like other people do. Okay, so poison oak, you can see right here, this is one leaf right here, and it's got 3 leaflets, and you can see there's a stem in the middle leaf going up to the middle leaflet. Now that's a very important characteristic of identification. The other thing is these are the flower buds right here. And the flower buds are subtended from the leaves, so they're lower than the outside leaves. And these will turn into, they'll have a white berry, and these are poisonous too. So anything, even if the poison oak is deciduous, even the burning of the branches and stuff like that can affect you. I shouldn't. Whenever I go out collecting plants, I start eating them, and then I wish I would have had some water, because sometimes it affects my throat. They taste good and stuff. It's just I have to remember to bring some water with me. So this is poison oak. Poison oak can be a bush or it can be a vine. It'll grow from sea level all the way up to about 4,000, 4,500 feet. So Lake Arrowhead is about 5,000 feet. So needless to say, we don't have poison oak up there. Big Bear, you can't find poison oak up there. It doesn't grow naturally up that high. But from 4,000 feet down to sea level, it grows abundantly. And this is a typical bush of it. They can get bigger than this too, but it's important to remember that the leaves are in 3s, and it's got a stem on that middle leaflet, and that the flowers and the fruit are always below the top leaves. Okay. Remember I was talking about poison oak earlier, and they can be growing right next to each other. In fact, this is what's called Rhus Trilobata. This is squaw bush or basket brush, and it looks very similar to poison oak. It doesn't right now, but it will later. There's poison oak right there, and right next to it is squaw bush. I'd have to get a leaf from the poison oak, and you can see the difference in the leaves. But the one thing, remember I said the poison oak is one leaf, and this is a leaflet. I mean, it's got 1 leaf and 3 leaflets, but you can see the middle leaflet, the leaf comes all the way down to that junction between the other 2 leaves. And poison oak has got a bare stem in between on that middle leaf. So that's one way to tell it apart. The other thing is, I told you the poison oak has got its flowers underneath the leaves, inside the bush, so to speak. And you can see how all the flowers here are out past the leaves. These are flower buds right here. And see, the leaves are underneath the flowers. On poison oak, the leaves are on top and the flowers are underneath. This has also got a red berry as compared to poison oak, which is a white berry. And you can, you know, a little saying that it's good to remember. As far as the berry color, if it's black or blue, it's good for you. If it's red, use your head. If it's white, please don't bite. If you can remember that, that kind of will give you a guide on edible berries. About 80 or 90% of berries that are black and blue are edible. About 50% of red berries are edible. So if it's black or blue, it's good for you. About 90%, 80 to 90% are edible. If it's red, use your head. About 50% are edible, 50% aren't. If it's white, please don't bite. So the white berry, a good example of a white berry is a poison oak. Like a blackberry that's not, or dark blue that's poisonous is ivy. Just regular English ivy has got a black berry, and that's poisonous. A red berry that's poisonous, I mean, you know, you can think of all sorts of them, but there's all sorts of edible red berries. But one red berry that people easily recognize is a holly. The holly berries are poisonous too. So here I have the poison oak and the squaw bush, and you can see it's divided into 3 leaflets, and you can see how this one has a little bit of a stem right here. Sometimes it's longer, and these leaves are all juvenile right now, they're just coming out. So you can see a little bit of a stem right here between this junction. And on the squaw bush, it goes, this leaf continues all the way down. You don't see any bare stem at all on squaw bush. So, squaw bush, the berries are edible. They're red berries and they're real sticky. And they kind of taste like, have you ever eaten the candy called sour warheads? You know, they're really sour and make you pucker. Well, that's what these things taste like. And so if you're just walking along and you have a water bottle, you can pick some of those berries, put them in the water bottle, shake it around, and drink it. It's like drinking lemonade. They're very lemony tasting. And you can dry them and stuff, and the berries are still, don't lose that sour taste. So, and they're still slightly sticky, but, and you can use them more than once. We've used them 2 or 3 times before the berries lose all of their potency. The Indians would use it's also called basket brush. It's a very pliable stem. And what the Indians would do, they would come in certain areas where they were making baskets, they would come the year before and cut off the squaw bush at the ground, and the new stems would come up very straight. So they get those new stems that are real straight and good for making baskets because they're pliable even when they're dry. So it's a real important plant for basket making. It does look similar to poison oak. It does grow in similar areas, but this will grow much higher elevations than poison oak. We have this, I can find this up in Big Bear at 7,000 feet, where poison oak, the highest I've ever seen it is 4,500. The books say it grows up to about 4,000 feet. So those are all just approximations, but this is a good example of where they're growing right next to each other. Oh, here's another good plant. Okay, we're way past prime season for this one, but this is Christmas berry or Toyon. It's Heteromeliza beautifolia. The California holly is another common name. And it's kind of got a little bit of a holly-like leaf, not that much of a, that I think, but some people think that, I guess. Anyhow, the Hollywood Hills are loaded with this, this Toyon, and that's how Hollywood got its name, is from the Toyon bush. This is a nice plant to know because this plant produces its fruit in the fall, in the late fall and early winter. So they call it Christmas berry because it's always ripe around Christmas. So in any place, it's harder, the further you get into winter, the harder it is to harvest plants, especially berries. There's two of them that I come right off the top of my head that are very available in the winter, early winter, and sometimes all through winter. And one of them, this isn't all through winter, but at least into January, these berries are edible. It's a red berry, and they have big clusters. You can see how big the clusters could be, and they're edible. You can pick them. They're kind of mealy and a little bit dry. They're not real moist. They're not a juicy berry like a raspberry or a grape or anything like that. But they are edible and nutritious for you. Slightly lemony in taste, a little bit sour, but very mealy. But they are edible. And the other plant that you can get a good source of berries in the wintertime is wild roses. The rose hips they stay on the bush all through the winter. So if you need to find food in the wintertime and you don't know where to look, always look for roses, because those red berries, in fact, they taste sweeter in the winter. After the first frost anyhow, they taste sweeter. So this will die out about 3,000 feet. It's another lower chaparral plant. It'll grow from Los Angeles all the way up to about 2,500 feet maybe. It's a typical lower chaparral plant, easy to identify. It's a good landscape plant, one that they use in xeriscaping all the time because it doesn't require extra water. It's a California native. It's used to our weather patterns, and good plant.